Hello, everyone. I'm Brenda Eason. I'm the founder of the Black Business Owners Network with over 70,000 members worldwide. Also, the co founder of the Black Empowered Media Network. Make sure you join our Facebook group. Like I said, we have over 70,000 members. The only person missing is you. All right. We highlight powerful voices, change makers, and entrepreneurs who are making an impact in their communities and beyond. Today, I am honored to be speaking with the incredible Debra B. Hamilton, CEO and founder of Nurture Your Love LLC, internationally renowned love coach, keynote speaker, and author of Unspoken Words: How Unresolved Conflicts Can Erode a Lifetime of Love. With over 4 decades of real life marriage experience, Deborah has become a guiding light for Black married women and couples navigating communication breakdowns, intimacy challenges, and emotional disconnection. Through her transformative coaching programs, her Black Wives Marriage Rebirth movement, and her powerful books, she's helping women reignite passion, heal from emotional wounds, and rebuild marriages that thrive in every season. Deborah, it's such a blessing to have you here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here, Brenda. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's learn about Deborah. Now, you've been married, divorced, and remarried, okay?
Yeah.
And through those seasons, you found your calling as a love coach. That's amazing. Can you share what moment or experience inspires you to create Nurture Your Love LLC?
Well, it started out because I realized that I actually had been talking to women and couples for a period of time, but I decided that, because of the hurt and the revelation of I'm divorced.
Mm-hmm.
34 years of marriage, this painful divorce, it just kind of hit me really hard, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
had to face the truth that I had spent decades loving, giving, and showing up for everyone else,
Yeah.
but I really hadn't done that for myself, right? And that realization became my turning point. It really helped me to see that I needed to heal, and I realized that my story was just not mine. It was everyone's, right? I mean, some of us have been through divorce, some of us have dealt with ups and downs in our marriages. And I just realized that I had something to offer, that I had something to share. So that's why I built Nurture Your Love, just to help women rebuild their voice, their confidence, and their joy, right? Without having to lose their marriage in order to find themselves. So that's why I created Nurture Your Love.
Okay. Yes, I get it. Now, many women stay in marriages while silently suffering. What message did you want to share with the women who feel unseen or unheard in her marriage?
Well, you're seen, but not the way you want to be seen. Sometimes we have to really think about how we're coming across, and that's one of the major things that I work on with women is how are we coming across, and we deal with the cultural aspect of it, right? How are we talking to our normally our black men versus how we're talking to everyone else, right? So for us, it's different. And I want you to be seen. And that's why I created so many things for you to be seen. But it's a way in which it's tools that you can use to help yourself to be seen
Right.
that I provide, of course.
Hmm. Yes. Now, tell us more about your Black Wives Marriage Rebirth program. What does rebirth look like for women who join this movement?
Well, you know what? It's a sacred space for women who are ready to stop performing strength and start living whole. Rebirth means rediscovering who you are beneath the expectations, the exhaustion, and emotional silence, right? We heal through communication, self worth, and connection, right? So we're not finger pointing, we're not male bashing at all.
Hmm.
And it's not about fixing him, it's about actually freeing yourself.
Mm, that's good. You often say that you don't have to leave your marriage, but you do have to stop leaving yourself behind. Can you explain what that means and why that's such a powerful truth?
Because we've been conditioned to carry love like it's a burden instead of a blessing, right? Black women have carried so much on their backs for so long that that quote just could stand, it makes you wonder, am I really focusing on myself? Am I choosing me? And that's what I want you to think about. Am I choosing myself? And you can fight for your marriage and your mental health, right? So too many women lose themselves trying to keep the peace. And I teach wives that peace isn't about absence of conflict. It's the presence of you, who you are. So I always want people to keep that in mind. Who are you? And
Yes.
that's powerful in itself.
Yes, it is. What are
Mhm.
some of the most uncommon, what are some of the most common unspoken words or hidden conflicts that you see eroding love in marriages today?
I'm tired. I don't feel seen. I miss the us we used to be. These are all silent truths that just fester in us, right? Until resentment becomes the third
Mm.
person in your marriage. And a lot of people don't realize that. But that resentment is actually the third person in your marriage, whether it's coming from you or it's coming from your spouse. Believe me, I know all about that. And
Yeah.
so I help women to find safe, honest language, right? Language for those truths and to help them to feel that love and help them to be able to breathe again. So that's one of the things that I want women to get.
Nice. You've created frameworks like VOICE method and self care toolkit. Can you walk us through how those tools help women rebuild emotional connection and communication?
Yeah. Voice stands for validate your own feelings, open the conversation with clarity, invite empathy instead of defensiveness, communicate clarity, and execute with consistency. So it's not therapy, it's real world and black wife tested language that we use that actually works in the moment, right? The self care toolkit adds daily rituals, right? Daily rituals to refill what's been emotionally drained. So when you think about self care, it encompasses so many things other than just getting your nails done and getting that massage or getting your hair done. And so that's what the self care toolkit does for us. It really expands on what self care should look like.
Nice. So now let's talk about your books and their impact. Now, your book, Unspoken Words, dives deep into the silent storms that destroy relationships.
Mm.
What was the most emotional or challenging part of writing that book?
Um, mm, it was really about how silence destroyed my marriage. The resentment that built up from not having the conversation that we needed to have, right? And realizing how much of it I helped create. I had to write about me and I had to write about my what I did to cause some of the disconnect that happened, right? So that book was both confession and closure for me. It broke me open and it also set me free. I got to really explain what happened at the end of my marriage and how both people were accountable.
Mhm. You also wrote Mastering Communication in Your Relationships and Marriage. Tell us about that book.
Communication is the cornerstone of everything, right? If you're not communicating, if you have that breakdown in communication, words that can either build bridges or walls. And I learned that love can't thrive in confusion, and silence is what? A slow killer. So
Yes.
communication is the oxygen of intimacy. And I wrote it because there were things that, as I talk to women, I find that sometimes we don't really know how to communicate. We're having a conversation, we're saying words, but are we saying them in the way in which we want our spouse to hear us? And that is the key.
Mhm.
Is our spouse hearing us when we're having that communication talk? So that was one of the reasons why I wrote that book because it's a powerful book because it really does take you through the steps on how you should be talking with each other.
How do you feel that your books and programs differ from traditional marriage counseling?
Because traditional counseling really just focus on what happened, and I focus on what's next. I want you to merge into personal healing with practical strategy, right? It's transformative, not transactional, and it's culturally rooted in how Black women actually experience love, stress, and identity. So my programs are definitely different than just the traditional way of um, counseling or coaching or whatever.
What advice would you give to a wife who feels emotionally disconnected, but she doesn't know
Mm,
where to start?
mm. Start with honesty, not blame,
Yeah.
and ask yourself questions. I'm always about asking yourself questions like, what am I avoiding saying because I fear the outcome? And that's your starting point because you want to have clarity before conversation. You want to really think about your ask. What do I want? What am I afraid of saying? And then when you figure that out, then that's when you can rephrase, revamp that question that you want to ask so that they actually hear you. And I'm gonna be saying this a lot because the whole purpose of everything that I do is for your spouse to hear you. So we're gonna reword that and start with our what we really need.
Right. Now, how can couples begin the process of healing when only one partner seems willing to change?
Well, what's surprising is that when one person starts to heal, it shifts the rhythm of the marriage, right? You think about how you were reacting or responding to how your spouse was talking to you or when you wanted to have that conversation. But when you change that dynamic, it literally changes the way they look at you. They start looking at you differently because you're not arguing, you're not saying things that are negative. You're actually rewriting, re-asking, restructuring what you want to say. So when you do that, it changes the dynamic of your relationship.
Absolutely. For women who are rebuilding their self worth after heartbreak, what are the first steps to rediscovering themselves and learning to love again?
Mm. One of the things that I had to do is I had to rest, right? I had to recover from what happened. And then I had to reflect on what happened, right? And then I had to reimagine what I wanted my life to be. You go from this, for me, 34 years of being married to now you're single. So you have to give yourself permission to stop performing survival and you have to start doing one thing. And I say this a lot, do one thing at a time. Can't change the whole world in a day, right? Can't change yourself in a day. So you do one thing daily that's just for you. And that's how self love becomes your new normal.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about the five hidden marriage killers and the self care toolkits. One of your most talked about resources is the five hidden marriage killers. Can you share what inspires you to create this assessment and why it resonates so strongly with Black women?
It's simple. I in my conversations with Black women, and I say myself, your marriage wasn't is dying or changing because of betrayal. It's dying from exhaustion, from emotional neglect, and
Mm-hmm.
unspoken resentment. Right. So I created it to name what's been killing connection in the shadows. Like we don't surfacely think about these things. We just exist, but I wanted you to be able to identify it. And that's why I created the five marriage killers, right? And you asked me, what was the other question? I'm sorry.
I was just saying, and why does it resonate so strongly with Black women, like Black wives? So,
Yeah, well, that's
mm-hmm.
why. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly it because it's from exhaustion, emotional neglect and unspoken resentment. And a lot of times we don't even realize, and that was for me personally, I didn't realize that I had built up resentment because I wasn't getting my needs met. But once we realize that because of the exhaustion and emotional neglect, that once we identify it, that we can work on preventing it.
Right. Now, you mentioned that communication advice often backfires for Black women. Such a powerful statement. Can you unpack what you mean by that and how your approach helps women to communicate more effectively without conflict or frustration?
Yeah, well, because the advice written wasn't really written for us. Most of the get self-help books, they weren't written for us. They, you know, we are different in the sense that sometimes we're loud, right? Sometimes we
Yes.
can't calm conversation.
Right.
So when calm can sound like dismissive in our culture,
Mhm.
right? And so I teach communication that's emotionally intelligent and culturally fluent. So our tone, our truth, and our tenderness can coexist. So that's the difference. It's speaking from a Black wife's perspective.
Now, the five hidden marriage killers, that reveals emotional red flags that often go unnoticed until it's too late. Could you share one or two of those silent patterns that many wives might be living, but without recognizing it?
Yeah, we avoid the hard talk. We avoid the hard talk because one of the things that we don't want to upset the the so-called peace that's not really peace.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're always the fixer. We always got to be the one who fixes things, and which causes an imbalance in the relationship. And so, when you're building that resentment, when you're always the fixer and always have to handle things, it it slowly destroys your intimacy.
Yes. In your experience, how does societal expectations and the strong Black woman narrative contribute to those hidden marriage killers?
The myth of the Black woman.
Yes. Not
Oh
the
boy, I'm telling you, let's get rid of that myth.
yes.
It teaches us to suffer, right? It teaches us to suffer with a smile on our face, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we show everyone and we call it love, but it's really depletion. The strong Black woman doesn't need to disappear, right? We need to be strong um, to prove our strength, but real strength is softness without apology. We could be soft. We don't have to
Yeah.
be hard. We don't have to be strong all the time. So let's get rid of that Black woman myth role that we claim that
Mhm.
we have, right? No.
Right. Exactly. Now, what kind of transformation have you seen when a wife finally recognizes and begins to address those hidden killers in her marriage?
Mm. Well, when you think about it, she stopped playing emotional defense, which is
Mhm.
constant. She starts speaking up and setting boundaries and seeing her husband differently because she's made these transformational changes. And so the marriage softens because she's finally feeling safe in it again. And that's the other issue. Sometimes we don't feel safe to express how we're feeling, but when we learn these tools, then that's where the transformation takes place because we're learning the tools so we can use those tools to start speaking up. We can start understanding what our boundaries are. And that
Mhm.
way we see our husband differently because we're not attacking or being attacked. So that's really important. Yeah.
Now, for the couples who are watching today, how can they use the five hidden marriage killers as a tool for self awareness and healing rather than blame or guilt?
Yeah, well, they could use it as a mirror, right? When you think about those killers and how they're affecting you, you tend to forget that you're causing friction because you're finding fault. Instead of finding fault, you want to find freedom. You both want to be able to say, let's learn from this. Let's shift the way we're thinking about our marriage and let's shift it from survival to revival. And that's so crucial. So you're changing that dynamic that you had before, but you're looking at that mirror and you're seeing yourself and you're seeing ways in which you can be different.
From survival to revival. I like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, I love that you've also created the Black Wives Self Care Kit. A lot of resources. We love that and books. Yeah. So she's
Yeah.
knowledgeable. What
Yeah,
motivated you to design that resource, the Black Wives Self Care Kit? And why is self care such a critical part of saving and strengthening a marriage?
because too many wives were trying to pour from a cracked cup. Think about that.
Yeah.
If you're leaking, how are you healing? So I wanted to give women something that was practical, guilt-free ways to refill themselves emotionally, right? So self-care, first of all, let me say this. Let me say it to the women in the back.
Yeah.
Self-care isn't selfish. I want you to think about that. It's not selfish. It's how love stays sustainable when you're taking the time to really look at yourself and find ways in which you can uh, uh, take away that crack cup and have a whole cup, then
Hmm.
you're redefining what that can look like for you. You're being able to show up not only for yourself, but for the people who rely on you.
You're right. Many women feel guilty for putting themselves first. What would you say to the wife who feels she can't take time for self care without neglecting her family or her spouse?
Yeah, that's a big one. But let me just say this to you. Guilt is a sign you're breaking an unhealthy pattern. If you're feeling guilty for doing something,
Yeah.
that means you're breaking that unhealthy pattern. That means you're finally doing something for yourself. You've been conditioned to believe care must always be outward, but no, it's inward. So I teach wives that when you take care of you, then you teach your family how to love you better and how to
Yeah.
take care of you as well. And sometimes we forget that we're questioning ourselves. We're asking ourselves, well, why isn't anyone seeing me? Well, are you seeing yourself?
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, inside the self care toolkit, there's a boundary setting guide and affirmation cards also. Why are
Mhm.
boundaries and positive self talk so essential for motivating, maintaining emotional balance in a marriage?
Well, boundaries say I matter, right? And affirmations remind you why you matter. So together they create a balance and emotional protection from burnout and resentment. So always remember that boundaries say, I matter, and affirmations remind you of why. That's why
Oh,
it's
like
so
that.
crucial for me to put those two in there
Yeah.
because you need to understand the difference.
Oh, yes. Love it. You also include a self reflection journal and daily peace checklists in your toolkit. How can journaling and daily reflection help a wife to reconnect with herself and her emotional needs?
Well, journaling is self-conversation. When you're journaling, you're thinking about your thoughts. It slows down that noise that you have in your head, or it can heal your heart. And that's where the healing begins. When you're actually journaling your thoughts and your feelings, it's letting you see what's going on with you in the moment, right? And it's not perfection, it's not about that, but it's being aware of how you're feeling during that time period, or what, even something as simple as what happened that day and how you can look at it differently.
Hmm. You also have Feeling Unseen in Marriage Self Care Kit. Yes.
Mhm.
You provide communication scripts and appreciation rituals. Can you share a practical example of how a wife could use these tools to open a conversation and rebuild connection without conflict?
Sure, something real simple. You never listen. Think about that. Instead of saying that, you can say, it matters to me that you hear this, right? Can we try again calmly? Because I said before, sometimes we're just not calm. We're having this discussion, it gets heated, and sometimes we just got to take a deep breath, right? And think about how we can reword something. Because the final analysis, we want our spouse to hear us. We want
Mhm.
our spouse to understand what we're saying to them. So when we are thinking about how we could say something, then we need to think about how we want it to be received, right? And then the
Mhm.
appreciation rituals keep gratitude alive while criticism used to live, right? So we're rewording how we want our spouse to hear us. And then we're showing the appreciation of the fact that they did hear us or that they did
Mhm.
something that benefited us. So we're showing that appreciation and saying, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you took out the garbage, right?
Yeah.
Something as simple as that, because men need appreciation. Let's just be real. Women
Mhm.
need it as well, but there's two things men need: respect and appreciation. So when we
Mhm.
figure that out and we give that,
That's
then
good.
that's where
That's
the shift can change.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, what results have women experienced after consistently using the self care toolkits, both personally and in their marriages?
Well, peace, right? They
Mhm.
report more peace. Less reactivity because they thought through what they want to say, better communication. The biggest change, though, is they start liking themselves again. It's really interesting. We're so stressed and we're so angry, and sometimes we don't understand that some of that comes from neglect of ourselves. So it helps us to like ourselves again, right? And that energy can change everything at home. When we like ourselves, when we feel like we're being heard, then that energy changes and we feel so much better.
Yes, indeed. For women who may be watching right now and realizing that they've lost themselves somewhere in their marriage, what first steps do you recommend today toward reclaiming their joy and their identity?
Well, think about how self care can benefit you, right? And how you could think about the things that you're doing to help with that, because self-care is the soul of rebirth, right? It helps us to revive ourselves, revive our marriage from depletion. And my mission, as always, is to help wives love from overflow and not obligation, right? I want women to take the first step about losing themselves, because we do, because we have so many responsibilities. We have a tendency to lose ourselves because we're taking care of the kids, we're taking care of the household, and we're taking care of our spouses. And in today's environment, we're also taking care of our parents. We're
Mm-hmm.
taking care of adult children. You
Yeah.
know, it just expands, right? And so we have to take a moment to just sit and ask ourselves, who am I outside of what I do for others? That is such a crucial question to ask ourselves.
Yes, indeed.
Mhm.
Now, you're also the founder of the Black Wives Group on Facebook. Can you share how that community has impacted women and what kind of sisterhood exists there?
I'm still building it, but I'm so excited because
Yes.
it's more than just a Facebook group. It's a sisterhood, right? And it's a safe space where Black wives can be soft, seen, supported, right? There's
Right.
no judgment, just growth and grace, right? And women come for advice, but they stay for the healing community. I give out so much information about how we could love ourselves, how we could be different in our marriages. And that information is very beneficial.
Yes, absolutely. Now, after working with thousands of wives and couples, what success story has touched your heart the most?
Two, actually. The first one was someone who came into my group, and she said she had packed her bag. She was getting ready to order the boxes, but after being a part of my group, she said that she realized that it was her. It was how she was looking at herself. It was how she was looking at her husband, and how being in the group made her transform. It made her uh, feel better about herself. It made her look differently at her spouse. And guess what she did? She didn't order those boxes. She unpacked her clothes, and they've been in this great marriage ever since. And I'm just so excited and happy that,
Wow.
the tools that I have has benefited her, right? And then another one, this one is cute too. A wife told me, she said, we didn't get divorced, we got delivered. Can you imagine? Can
Ooh.
you imagine that? We got delivered, right? And so she learned to speak up and he learned to listen and they were able to fall back in love again
Mm,
after
mm,
20
mm.
years. So that's the kind of resurrection love I live for. I'm just so grateful that the tools that I have is working, that it's really benefiting women. And that's what this is all about.
That is beautiful. All right, Miss Deborah, what is next for you? Are there any upcoming retreats, new books, projects, anything you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I'm excited about this because I've had single women ask me to do something for them. So I'm happy to report.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm being part of that.
Okay, girl, because I'm happy to. I am doing a 4-week in-depth self-love program, right? And
Mhm.
I say this, I've said this before, but before you can be a wife, you have to be a whole individual. You
Yeah.
can't say I want to be a wife until you're whole yourself, right? And
Mm.
that is what I'm going to be spending time on. I want for those who want to be married, for those who just want to feel better about themselves, this 4-week in-depth self-love program is going to be phenomenal because I'm going to go in-depth of what that looks like for you. What do you need to do to transform yourself to show up ready to be a wife?
That sounds amazing. All right, now your tools are they're such a gift, such a gift. Before we wrap up, can you please tell everyone who's listening, all the viewers, where they can get the 5 hidden marriage killer assessment and all your self care toolkits?
They can always go to my website at nurtureyourlove.com and you'll find all of, not everything, but you'll find the 5 hidden marriage killers and the self-care toolkits, as well as the Black Wives Marriage Rebirth membership as well. That's there as well.
And what's your website?
Nurtureyourlove.com.
Nurtureyourlove.com. Y'all got
Yeah,
it?
that's my web.
Nurtureyourlove.com.
Yeah.
And what about your social media if they want to follow you on social media?
On Instagram, I am nurtureyourlove.com and Black Wives underscore group. On Facebook, my website for Facebook, if you just go to Black Wives group, you can that's my group that I have, and also Deborah B. Hamilton.
Now, are your coaching programs on the website as well?
Yeah,
Okay. You want to tell them
everything
more?
is there. I keep saying everything is not there.
Uh-huh.
Like my self-love program is not there yet because it's still in progress.
Right, right.
I'm always building new things. So definitely check out my website. Definitely follow me. I'm also on LinkedIn as Deborah Barnes Hamilton and Black Wives Group and Nurture Your Love. So you can
Perfect.
find me. I'm out there
You
everywhere.
okay? Look
So
for her now. She look for her. She got
yep,
something for
check me out.
married women. She got something for married women and single women to get
Yes,
ready for their marriage. That's
yes.
important.
I'm here to help. That's the whole point. I'm here to help. I want everyone to have a successful marriage. I'm telling you, my first marriage it ended in divorce, but the second marriage that I'm in is absolutely amazing. And you want to know why it's amazing? Because
Why?
I did the work. I use the tools to make it amazing. So I don't just share what I do. I live what I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I live it. And I am a testament to when you use the tools, anything is possible.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for being here today and
Thank
sharing
you.
your wisdom, your transparency, and your powerful story of transformation and love, which is so beautiful. Your work is helping women heal, rediscover themselves, and rebuild marriages that truly thrive. And we're so grateful for the light that you bring. Yes, we
Thank
are.
you.
All right, now to our viewers, if you were inspired by this interview and you want to be interviewed as well, you know what you got to do. Just text the word interview to 202-308-3157. The word interview to 202-308-3157. Also, make sure you join the BBON's Facebook group. Over 70,000 businesses on there. We're ready to network, collaborate, partner, and grow together. So come join us over there. And for my social media, at Brenda Eason, The @ BRENDA That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And then on YouTube it's at Brenda Eason World. At Brenda Eason's World. So for more empowering interviews and stories, you check out all the interviews there. Miss Deborah's will be there as well. That's about all I have for today. I'm Brenda Eason, founder of the Black Business Owners Network, co-founder of the Black Empower Media Network. Now, with these interviews, they want to go in the Facebook group in front of the 70,000 plus members there. And if you like, they can come onto the network, the Black Empower Media Network, if you're ready to upgrade and go even further. Televisions all over the world on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and Tubi. But this is a start to getting your story out there. So please reach out, interview 202-308-3157. That's all I have for today. Any closing words? You have any
I
closing?
just want to thank you for allowing me to be interviewed by you. I truly appreciate it. And I just really hope that the women who are listening really check me out because I have something for everyone. But always remember you are important, you are special, and you are loved. Always remember that.
On that note, we're out. Everybody, peace.